Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a brand new story to share with you. So let's begin. My name is Jerry, and for the past 10 years, I was married to a woman named Jennifer. If you had asked me a few years ago, I would have told you I had a good marriage. Turns out I was dead wrong. Jennifer was planning to leave me, thinking she'd walk away with half of everything. She thought she had it all figured out. But what she didn't know was that I was 3 steps ahead. I guess if I'm being honest, things weren't always bad between me and Jennifer. When we first got together, she was sweet and attentive. Back then, I actually felt like she was proud to be with me. But over time, things changed. She started picking at me. At first, I brushed it off as playful teasing, but then it got worse. She'd compare me to other men, coworkers, friends, even strangers. Why can't you be more ambitious, like Friendy? You see how Kelvin takes his wife on vacations? Must be nice. Jeff always knows how to fix things around the house. You should learn from him. It was always someone else. Someone taller, someone richer, someone better. At some point, I realized that no matter what I did, it was never enough for her. If I worked late, I wasn't making enough money. If I came home early, I didn't have enough drive. If I bought her gifts, I was wasting money. If I didn't, I was neglecting her. There was no winning. And trust me, I tried. The only reason I didn't walk away sooner was because of our daughter. I wasn't about to let my kid grow up in a broken home if I could help it. So I stayed. I put up with the passive-aggressive behaviors. One regular Saturday afternoon, I was sitting in the living room, flipping through my phone, when my daughter walked up to me with that hopeful little smile kids get when they're about to ask for something. "Daddy, can we get ice cream?" she asked, eyes wide. Already tried to win me over. I chuckled and shook my head. "Sweetheart, you know ice cream isn't good for you all the time. Too much sugar." It was something I'd told her 100 times before, but this time, instead of pouting or trying to negotiate like she usually did, she just shrugged and said, "But Uncle Ben always gets me ice cream." Everything in me went still. I forced myself to stay calm, to act normal. But who the hell was Uncle Ben? Trying to keep my voice light, I asked, "Oh yeah, who's Uncle Ben?" She didn't even hesitate. "Mummy's friend. He comes when you're at work or when you go on your trips. He buys me ice cream and cookies." I was speechless. A kid her age doesn't lie about things like that, especially not with that much casual honesty. In her mind, there was nothing wrong. I forced a smile. "Oh, I see. That's nice of him." She nodded and ran off to play, but I just sat there. My wife, Jennifer, had a male friend who came over when I wasn't around. I didn't ask her about it right away. Instead, I did something better. I started paying attention to Jennifer's behavior, and that's when I noticed some things. She was leaving the house a lot more than usual, always claiming she had some errand to run, but she'd be gone for hours. Trips to the gym that somehow lasted half the day. Sudden plans with friends she never mentioned before. And whenever I asked simple questions like, "Where did you go?" or "Why did that take so long?" she'd get defensive, like I had no right to even ask. Her phone became another red flag. It was always on silent, always flipped face down on the table. She'd take it with her everywhere, even to the bathroom. If it rang while we were in the same room, she'd rush to pick it up and walk away before answering. It was clear she didn't want me anywhere near her phone, and the few times I casually glanced over, I'd see her quickly swiping notifications away, like she didn't want me seeing who was texting. That was new. We never had secrets before, but now it felt like she was hiding an entirely separate life for me. And her attitude? It was like she had flipped a switch. Every little thing I did irritated her. She started picking fights over the smallest things. And I noticed something strange. These arguments always seemed to happen right before she needed to get some air or had to step out for a bit. It was like she was looking for an excuse to leave the house, And the easiest way to do that was by making me the bad guy. When I never suspected her of infidelity, I kept trying to fix things. I'd ask her what was wrong, if she was stressed, if something was bothering her. But every time I tried, she shut me down. But when I started observing these patterns, I stopped asking. One night, I was sitting at the desk in our bedroom, trying to jot down some notes when I realized my pen had run out of ink. I glanced around looking for a spare, and that's when I saw Jennifer's handbag sitting open on the dresser. I reached inside. My fingers brushed against something small and plastic. I pulled it out without thinking. It was a prescription bottle. At first, I barely even registered what I was holding. The name of the medication didn't ring a bell, so I grabbed my phone, typed it into Google, and within seconds I got something. The medication was used to treat sexually transmitted diseases. I hadn't been with Jennifer in months. If she was taking this, it could only mean one thing. Jennifer was sleeping with someone else. I heard the water shut off in the bathroom. I put the bottle back, exactly where I found it. I didn't want her to know what I had just discovered. Instead of confronting her, he plays along. Texas is a fault-based divorce state, meaning if I could prove her infidelity, she wouldn't just lose her claim to alimony. She could even end up paying me damages. That realization changed everything. Instead of reacting, I decided to set a trap. The first thing I did in the days that followed was hire a divorce lawyer, someone who specialized in cases like this. He laid out exactly what I needed, proof that would hold up in court. That's when I brought in a private investigator. It took over a month before the PI came back with results, and what he found confirmed my suspicions. She wasn't just cheating. She was bold about it. There were photos of her meeting this guy at places. But the worst part, she had the audacity to bring him into our home. Yeah, you heard that right. When I was at work, she would invite him over. The PI had timestamps of photos and videos showing the guy's car parked in front of our house on multiple occasions. At that point, any lingering feelings I had for her were gone. This was disrespectful. And then there was our daughter. I always suspected she was neglecting her. But now, I started seeing just how bad it was. She would leave for hours, sometimes missing bedtime entirely, just to be with him. She was absent. My lawyer made it clear. If I could prove that she was neglecting our child, I could file for full custody. And that's exactly what I planned to do. At this point, she had no idea what was coming. She thought she had me fooled. But in reality, I was already building my case, piece by piece, waiting for the perfect moment to start. So I made my move by transferring all my major assets into accounts under my daughter's name. I set them up as college savings funds and structured them legally as inheritance accounts. On paper, everything now belonged to my daughter. And since those accounts were strictly for her future, Jennifer couldn't touch a dime. It wasn't as simple as just moving money around. I consulted with a lawyer to make sure everything was airtight. And once it was done, there was no reversing it. This wasn't about being petty. It was about protecting what I had worked for. If I left everything in our joint accounts and asked Jennifer for divorce, she would have had every right to claim half of it. Maybe even more, if she played her cards right. As far as it was set aside for our daughter's future, the money wasn't mine anymore. All I have to do is end up as my daughter's legal custodian of her accounts. I will still have full control. One night, after yet another argument, Jennifer finally said the words I had been waiting to hear. I wanted divorce. She folded her arms and stared at me, expecting me to beg, to panic, to fight for her. But I didn't. I had been ready for this moment long, before she even thought about saying it out loud. I wanted out just as badly, maybe even more. Instead of arguing back, I just smiled and said, "Okay," that one word threw her off. She blinked like she hadn't expected it to be that easy. She thought she had the upper hand. In her mind, she was about to walk away with half of everything, plus alimony to keep her comfortable. She had no idea that I had spent months preparing for this exact moment. The next morning, before she could even start talking about how we should divide things fairly, I had my lawyer send her the divorce papers. She was still in her robe when she opened the envelope at the breakfast table. I watched as her expression changed. Her world collapsed in real time. The papers outlined everything. Not only was she not getting alimony, she might even have to pay me damages. For the first time in a long time, she was speechless. She looked at me, eyes wide, as if seeing me for the first time. When the divorce proceedings started, Jennifer still carried herself like she had everything under control. She probably thought that would be a way out. But she was wrong. The private investigator had done a thorough job. There were photos with timestamps of her meeting her lover at various locations. And when the court saw it, there was no denying what had been going on. Then came the kicker. The STD medication I took photos of at night. I remember the way her face turned pale when my lawyer presented it. There it was, documented proof that she had been treating an infection she sure as hell didn't get from me. The judge didn't even try to hide his disapproval. Texas is a fault-based divorce state, which means if one spouse is caught cheating, it completely changes the outcome of the case. She was the one who broke our vows. She lost her right to alimony. She had expected a payday. Instead, she got nothing. And to top it all off, because her affair directly led to the divorce, there was a chance she would even have to pay me damages. But the worst blow for her, the one that really shattered her, was when the court ruled on custody. My lawyer laid everything out. The night she left our daughter home alone to meet her lover, the reckless spending, the way she prioritized her affair over her own family. The judge didn't hesitate. He saw her for exactly what she was, an unfit mother. Full custody was awarded to me. No shared parenting, no weekends, no back-and-forth arrangement. Jennifer was reduced to a visitor in her own child's life. I had already moved into accounts under our daughter. Name, other major assets like the house, structured in a way she couldn't touch. By the time the ruling came down, she had nothing left. When we walked out of that courtroom, she wasn't the same woman who had confidently asked for a divorce. I won't lie. There was a time when I might have taken her back and fixed things for the sake of our daughter. But that time is long gone. I see things clearly now. Some mistakes can't be undone, and some people only regret their actions when they realize the consequences. That's exactly what happened to Jennifer. At first, she tried to act like she didn't care. The moment she realized she wasn't getting a dime from me, that she was losing custody, that she had nothing to fall back on, suddenly, she wasn't so sure about leaving. She started calling, sending long messages about how we had so many good years together, how she made a mistake, how our daughter needed both of us. But where was that concern for our family when she was sneaking around? Where was all that regret when she was lying to my face, treating me like I wasn't good enough? I stayed firm. She tried every trick in the book, guilt, fake remorse, even blaming me for not fighting for our marriage. But you can't fight for something that the other person already set on fire. She was never sorry about what she did. She was sorry she got caught, and even sorry that I didn't let her walk away with the life she thought she deserved. Now I'm free, and not just legally, mentally, emotionally, financially. I can finally focus on my daughter, on building a life where I don't have to walk on eggshells or wonder what lie I'm being told today. I learned a lot from this. First, never ignore the signs. If something feels off, trust your instincts. Second, always protect yourself emotionally and financially. If I hadn't taken the steps I did, I would have been the one left with nothing. And third, some people only respect you when they realize they can't take advantage of you anymore. So what do you guys think? Did I handle it the right way? What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Let me know in the comments. And remember, She thought she was playing me. Turns out, she was playing herself. Thanks for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more stories.